Hello, everybody. Welcome once again to Action Theater Presents Extra Dose. Today's feature will be In Harm's Way from 1965, starring John Wayne and Kirk Douglas, Patricia Neal, directed by Otto Preminger, also starring Tom Tycoon, Paula Pentis, Henry Fonda, Dana Andrews, uh, Brian D. Wilde, George Kennedy, Carol O'Connor, Slim Pickens, Larry Hannigan, Bruce Cabot, and Jill Hayworth. Synopsis reads: A naval captain, Turi, played by John Wayne, manages to bring his ship through the bombing of Pearl Harbor unscaled, but is later devastated to when his damaged in a subsequent battle due to his negligence. Back on the land, he begins a reconciliation with his estranged son, Brian D. Wilde, uh, and a romance with the nurse, Maggie Patricia Neal. But duty calls him away when he and his fireman friend, Commander Paul Egan, played by Kirk Douglas, are tasked with saddling a dangerous and important mission. Now, we're not allowed to play these here on YouTube. This will be a commentary track. And let's welcome. Oh, deleted scenes. You're here. Hello, deleted scenes.
Oh,
On your oh.
yes. Good afternoon to everyone out there in YouTube land. Welcome to a special Wednesday edition of the show. We will be back at our regular day and time tomorrow for 1917. But right now, we are going to go back to World War II with the Duke, as this time in Pearl Harbor.
Yeah.
And yeah.
So,
what we are going to do, since we are not allowed to show the film, we could, but we would have to either stop like every 8 seconds, turn it into a slideshow, or just stick so many watermarks on it that we would not be able to. You wouldn't be able to see all that much. So what you can do is join us in the screening room. The link should be at the top or the bottom of the chat, depending on where YouTube has chosen to put it today. And you can follow along that way. This is pretty much a classic World War II film, so it's out there on physical media, and we are going to be watching it today via Fandango at home, where the movie is available, so you can watch it that way as well. So, all right. What we're going to do when we start the film is we're going to put up the commentary only banner, and that way you will be able to sync up along with us. So Bill is going to count us down
Yep.
and we'll start the show.
Here we go. 5, 4, 3, 2, go. This film has a 2 hour and 47-minute runtime. I believe there's also an intermission in this one.
Of course, goes straight into the titles in harm's way. Otto Preminger film. And Preminger had he was known to be kind of a taskmaster. Kind of a perfectionist, kind of difficult, but he made some good films.
This film was highlighted. I think it was highlighted in was it Band of Brothers? Which wouldn't make any
I would
sense.
think not. No.
Oh no! There's a movie that was with John Wayne that was highlighted in Band of Brothers. I thought it was this one, but it wouldn't make sense for it to be that. You know. Oh,
Remember, ladies, that this is supposed to be 1941 and not 1965 when the movie is actually being made.
yeah.
Yeah. To say that there are, I'll kind of just say this up front. There are a couple of characters in this movie that, as far as I'm concerned, feel a little bit out of place. Yeah, this chick's one of them.
She's a little bit limited.
Yeah. Oh.
We have our first pole dance. She's dancing a little bit too provocative.
Everybody shut up. Listen to the band. Okay.
So as we saw in the beginning, this is the night before the bombing of Pearl Harbor. Hello, Mark Harkness. Kapla.
Good to see you. just a few minutes into in harm's way.
Hey, didn't that movie with the shark begin like this?
Prepare to die. Meanwhile, yes, that's right, the war. Well, oh no, a bugler. Oh no, you're not Rock of Ages. It was Tom Cruise.
Oh God!
Foreshadowing. Meanwhile, hurry up before the short patrol gets here.
Oh, she sounds like a child.
I know, right?
There's Slim Pickens. Hey, are they playing cards and Battleship at the same time? What is that strange tablet with the pegs in it?
Yeah, it's not one of yours.
Which, by true events, really did happen. I believe that
Yep.
is a true fact that they attacked the Jap sub, and they still were ill prepared for the oncoming attack. And they aren't American planes. And this is not that other. This is not that other Kirk Douglas films where they could have stopped the bombing of Pearl Harbor. I believe that was the Final Countdown, or what was that one called? You know the one I'm talking about.
Yeah. Larry Hagman, of course, well known as J.R. Ewing on Dallas. Hello to
Those
the bird woman of YouTube, Connie Cleary. Good to see you.
those aren't American planes. They're Jap Zeros. Yeah, we're under attack. We got to do
Yeah, we don't have
something.
time.
Oh shit! Whoa! Oh my gosh! That is Well, they made a fire ant, didn't they?
Mr. McConnell, congratulations. You've just been promoted.
I'd say don't stop. They use a small arms farmer against these zeros.
You get close enough? Yeah. Yep. You have no idea. Archie. Carol O'Connor, of course. I'm a Xerox machine. You? Yeah. About 24 minutes into the film.
Uh-oh. That's the torpedo. Yeah, we just got hit by a torpedo. Hmm.
Whoa. Yeah. Okay. That wasn't supposed to happen. Oh, yeah.
Welcome, Gamut the First. Our timestamp is 31:24.
Go to Big Out Presents.
Hey, Big
Post
Al.
films with friends. Creator of the 10-word review. Ah! Oh, come on, you can get out of that. Oh, thank you. Where are you from? Well, all right. And Cactus Jack is down. I'll toss that out. Of course, that's assuming your captain's still captain this time tomorrow.
So this is sometime after the bombing of Pearl Harbor. Yes.
Mhm.
Why was he relieved? Did they go over why he was relieved of his command? Because he got injured?
Because he didn't follow procedure, so to speak. With the whole not avoiding the sub, he didn't zigzag. He didn't go by the book. In other words. Mickey.
Is that Bridges Meredith?
Or just Meredith. Yep.
They knocked us into Morro Rock.
I'll try to get through this. Oh, I'm sure we'll find some way to mess it up, ma'am. Busted flipper. Yeah. Yes. Remember, you broke your arm earlier in the film. Well, now's not a good time. Okay. Check off ditching Burgess Meredith at a random location. Check that off on your bingo card, please. Thank you. Relax. I was in Shane. I have this handled. Oh, probably does. Oh, oh no, no! Oh, don't get into this conversation, Sean.
Didn't they use Skyhook in that Batman movie?
Do it. Do it. Do it. On the other hand, the kid's got a point. 18 years, that's, yeah, you're not going to solve that in one night. All right, what's with you ditching me last night? Ah, the other rock when it ditched me. We know. Ma'am, sir. My God, he thinks he's radar.
It's your papa.
Yeah. He's short. Yeah, I'm getting out of here. How do we get out of this movie? How do we get in it exactly? Bill, I'm having an existential crisis.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's halibut. No. Can we still say Chinaman? Probably not.
It's just some chocolates with some liquor.
Oh.
An army brat, and you joined the Navy. Okay.
Frame. That was quick.
Oh, gin is a god awful drink.
Okay, here is my current proposition. We kneecap everybody who's not the Duke of Patricia Neal. What do you say?
That's a pretty good assessment. Yeah, I'd go with it.
Okay. On three?
Yeah, can I dance with my own date? You were getting really touchy feely there, sir. Wow, he's putting fast moves on her, isn't he?
Ah, geez Louise, stop saying. Okay. Oh, right. Okay. God, this was a James Jones novel, wasn't it? I can always change the station.
I guess the date didn't go so well. Yeah, the incident was a little bit too touchy feely and passive aggressive. Our timestamp is 1 hour, 5 minutes, 24 seconds.
Overly Vuvana? No, I don't think I'll ever get overly Vuvana. No, sorry. Well, hell, you two better do something about that. What? What? No, no. Yeah, 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 yeah. Well, I guess you two are out of excuses. Hmm. Meanwhile, we now return to Mikhail's Navy already in progress.
Wow, he's got a hell of a beard going there, doesn't he?
Mm.
He gives it to him. Wow.
Yes, the Kirk Douglas portion of the John Wayne movie. Anyway, um,
He is the patriarchy. Oh my gosh.
he was sober the whole time. Shit, I sent you the wrong Eddington. But he wasn't in Eddington. Oh, hello. Oh, Paula, my apprentice.
You sure you have? Didn't we just say that a while ago?
Got your number. Stinky, Bony Bob, Cliff, Richard Todd, Richard Burton, Larry Fortensky. I'm sorry. Hey, we got George Kennedy. We'll be fine. Yeah. Sorry. Mhm. Hello to last call, Troy Pacelli. Stopping in real quick. Got a D&D game starting soon. Did you know John Wayne's grandson played the Mandalorian in the current film? He's in it more than Pedro. Yep. Yeah. Brendan Wayne, uh, who, let's be honest, plays the Mandalorian. And he is John Wayne's grandson. That is correct. Bill, can we get a timestamp? Okay. We are 1 hour, 35 minutes, 30 seconds in. They don't let war get in the way of a good photo op. Yeah. You know who this movie needs? Lee Marvin. Just saying. Oh, Captain. But we weren't into boys, sir. Yeah. Yeah. Exactly. That too. Kid's smartening up, see? Yeah, because he's the Dick's kid, see? Yeah. Yeah. This is how Attack Force Z got started. Uh, can't do that. We don't have enough Australians. Just got the one guy. Just one guy. We're all counting on you. Timestamp 1 hour, 47 minutes, 45 seconds. We're got an hour left in the movie. Meanwhile, San Francisco. Well, well, well. Lieutenant McConnell, not quite dead yet.
He's only half dead. I thought you were dead. I was only mostly dead.
Yeah. This is where I'm afraid things go a little sideways.
Spartacus, how dare you? And no means no. Okay, that's very, very bad.
Wow, this has really gone dark, hasn't it? Oh. Hmm.
Don't go jinxing me. Yes, ma'am.
This should be pretty forward.
Yeah. And it was at that moment he realized he fucked up. Timestamp 2 hours, 24 minutes, 8, 9, 10 seconds.
Yeah, Jerry, listen up, mate. Oh, they got his boy, didn't they?
Yeah.
The Japs.
Jamie Lynn, or fixing to wrap the movie up here. Probably about 15, 20 minutes or so. We're up to the final battle. Hello to Tree Rock Creations. And we're going to be talking a little bit more about Jerry Goldsmith when we get to the trivia section. Jesus.
And that is In Harm's Way. Would you like to salute the skulls?
All right. Uh, In Harm's Way was released April 6th, 1965. Was nominated for a Best Cinematography Academy Award. And Patricia Neal won Best Actress in a Foreign Film at the BAFTAs. Filming locations: San Diego and San Francisco, California. Canoe Marine Corps Air Station, Ford Island, Pearl Harbor, Oahu, and Hell's Half Acre District, Honolulu, Oahu, all in Hawaii, of course. The naval battle sequences were done with models that were so large in scale, for the sake of greater detail, they could be operated from the inside. Cameo: Jerry Goldsmith. Early in the film, prior to the Pearl Harbor attack, the composer can be seen as the pianist signaling the band to stop playing. Until recently, Admirals Kimmel and Nimitz were identified in the credits simply as Sync Pack 1 and Sync Pack 2. Neither of them were referred to by name in the movie, and any reference to them was always as Sync Pack. During filming, Kirk Douglas sponsored a Yom Kippur service for the Jewish naval personnel being used as extras. The cruiser used for filming was the USS St. Paul. Kirk Douglas wrote that John Wayne wanted him for the role of Eddington. He was surprised, as they did not know each other and did not socialize, and their political opinions were very different. Nonetheless, the collaboration was a success, and they co-starred in the War Wagon, and Wayne had a cameo, and his company Bad Jack was the first listed production company. Douglas's production company Bruno was listed second. In Douglas's Ode to Israel, it cast a giant shadow. Henry Fonda, who played the second commander-in-chief, Pacific Fleet Sync Pack 2, was a naval veteran of World War II who served in the Pacific Theater. After making the Oxbow incident, he enlisted in the Navy to fight in World War II, saying, "I don't want to be in a fake war in a studio." He served in the Navy for 3 years, first as a quartermaster third class on the destroyer the USS Satterley, then second after receiving a commission as lieutenant junior grade in air combat intelligence. For his service, he received the Bronze Star, the fourth highest award for bravery or meritorious service in conflict with the enemy. He reprised the role of Admiral Nimitz in the docudrama Midway. John Wayne was suffering from lung cancer, and by the end of filming was coughing up blood. Despite that, he continued to smoke up to 6 packs of cigarettes a day throughout filming. 2 months later, his entire left lung and several ribs were removed. Don't smoke, kids. Also, don't make a movie where they're testing nuclear bombs. Okay. They didn't shoot the film in color? No, not this one. All right. In addition to John Wayne, Francois Tone was also suffering from lung cancer during filming. Unlike Wayne, who would survive his first case of cancer, dying in 1979, Tone battled his first case to his own death in late 1968, with only 4 movie roles between this movie and his death. Wayne had 18 movie roles and several television appearances after having one cancerous lung and 2 ribs removed on January the 17th, 1964, between this movie and his own death. The escape of a destroyer from the Pearl Harbor attack with only junior officers aboard is based on the actions of the USS Alwyn. Could be Alwyn. Anyway, the story about being pursued out of the harbor by her captain is also based on fact, but rather than a few hundred feet behind the Alwyn, the captain's launch came no closer than 1,000 yards. The film's title comes from a quote by John Paul Jones. "I wish to have no connection with any ship that does not sail fast, for I intend to go in harm's way." When Tori is being briefed by Nimitz, a painting of John Paul Jones can be seen hanging on the wall behind Nimitz's right shoulder. The fictional ship in the movie is a composite of several World War II cruisers. The USS Salt Lake City, known as Swieback Maru, that ship in the movie and in the novel was based on the ship known as Old Swieback. The USS San Francisco was the flagship of a squadron of ships in the famous naval battle, 11-12-42, in the Solomon Islands area. The fictional ship in the movie is also the flagship of a squadron of ships in an important naval battle. 3. The 2 ships mentioned above survived World War II. The fictional ship in the movie was sunk. So it could also be based on any United States Navy cruiser that was sunk during the Solomon Islands campaign. The islands identified by Tori as Gavabutu and Livovano and Tokorora were actually San Cristobal, Guadalcanal, and Malita. Palapashits would become known as Iron Bottom Sound because the number of ships that would be sunk there in coming battles. Cape Titan probably referred to the Japanese base at Rabaul on New Britain, about 650 miles from Guadalcanal. The Battle for Guadalcanal began 8742 and would not end until 243. Although they say that the majority of forces are with MacArthur in the Solomons, Guadalcanal is in the eastern Solomons. The dividing line between MacArthur's area of responsibility and Nimitz's was 159 degrees east. According to John Huston's autobiography, the movie is the one that led Tom Trom to abandon acting career. He had experienced producer director Preminger's during the film Cardinal and was understandably offensive about routine. Preminger this month, instead of trying to reassure the agitated Tryon, at first chewed him out for his fears in front of other cast members, then walked behind him and screamed to relax in his ear. He reportedly almost quit that day, but castmates talked him out of it. The original Clemson cast destroyer, DD-298, was the USS Percival, commissioned in 1920 and decommissioned in 1930. Its first commander was later Admiral Raymond A. Spruance, who led the 5th Fleet in World War II. The USS Philip was the destroyer that steams out of Pearl Harbor at the beginning of the attack. She was decommissioned 9/30/68 and struck from the Navy List 10-168. She was sold 12/15/71, but sank in a storm on her way to be scrapped on 2/2/72. At the end of filming, the executive officer of the USS St. Paul, Commander Charles R. Little, received orders for his promotion from commander to captain. John Wayne pinned the captain's eagles he wore in the movie. Keir Delay was offered a major role. The oiler pointed out early in the movie was the USS Guadalupe. She was commissioned 6/19/41. She would earn 14 battle stars for World War II service. 6 for Korean War service, and 10 campaign stars for Vietnam War service. This was John Wayne's final black and white film. However, the opening montage sequence in Wayne's final film, The Shootist, was also in black and white. Patricia Neal said, "I adored John Wayne. We got along fabulously. The first time we worked together in Operation Pacific, 1951, I didn't like him at all. But in Honolulu, he was a much happier man." According to John Wayne biographer Maurice Sodolo, he spoke of how Patricia Neal had matured as an actress and a woman, said stayed acted opposite one another in Operation Pacific. The scene when Eddington is approaching the transport on which Maggie and Annalee are traveling, there's a destroyer in the background without a hull number. If you look very closely, you can just make it out as 450, which is the Fletcher-class destroyer USS O'Bannon. If you look at the Wikipedia article for her, there is a mention of her taking part in the filming. The O'Bannon also appeared in the final scene of The Fighting Sullivans, portraying the USS The Sullivans at its launching. The Marine scene lining the dock when John Wayne arrived were members of the band at Marine Corps Air Facility, Coney Bay. Its name from 1952 to 2009 when it was renamed the Marine Corps Air Station. They were extras in the film, although they received no extra pay for appearing in it. The Paramarines did exist. The 1st Parachute Battalion was attached to the 1st Marine Division for the invasion of Guadalcanal. On 8/7/42, the unit conducted an amphibious assault on the small island of Gavatu and later seized the neighboring island of Tanambogo with other Marine units. The battalion later moved to Guadalcanal, fighting alongside the 1st Marine Raiders in the Tassamboco Raid and the Battle of Edson's Ridge. The high casualties suffered by the Marine paratroopers led to the battalion to be moved to Camp Kaiser on Tuntuta, New Caledonia in September. 2nd Parachute Battalion performed a diversionary raid on Choiseul Island in October 1943 and later joined the 1st and 3rd Parachute Battalion on Bougainville. As the Cassidy is getting underway and steaming through the harbor, her guns are training this way and that, but none are fired. During the attack, everyone that could be brought to bear was firing. In fact, most of the civilian casualties were caused by shells that had not been fused to detonate in the air and exploded when they came down. John Wayne was diagnosed with lung cancer on 9/13/64 shortly after filming ended. He suggested that Kirk Douglas should replace him on The Sons of Katie Elder if he did not survive the surgery. Stanley Holloway was 73 when he played the leader of the Australian Coast Watchers. He is most recognizable as the father of Liza Doolittle and My Fair Lady, whose brilliant performance came close to stealing the film. Several critics pointed out that John Wayne was too old to play a Navy captain in World War II. Wayne was 57 while filming. In the source novel, his character, Rock Torrey, is 48. When this movie was made in 1964, all the U.S. Navy heavy and light cruisers that would have been in service at the time of the Pearl Harbor attack had either been decommissioned or scrapped, or transferred to a South American Navy. Some of these weapons and electronic systems did not exist during World War II, so it was impossible to have a 1941-42 era U.S. cruiser in the movie as no more existed. Patricia Neal and Stanley Holloway were later to become grandparents-in-law, of sorts. 12 years after filming, Neal's daughter, writer-actress Tessa Dole, had a short relationship with Holloway's son, actor-producer Julian Holloway. That relationship produced a mutual granddaughter for them, actress-model Sophie Dole. John Wayne and Otto Preminger deliberately avoided discussing politics during filming. Kirk Douglas felt the battle at the end of the movie was ruined by use of very obvious models. When the movie was released, it was widely derided as an overlong attempt to emulate the success of From Here to Eternity. This was the last World War II epic filmed in black and white until Schindler's List 28 years later. When Eddington and Dorn are standing on the beach to picnic, they are supposed to be on the fictional island of Gavabutu. However, the rock formation known locally as Chinaman's Hat is clearly seen in the background. Chinaman's Hat is located in Kahone Bay, offshore of Kailua Regional Beach Park in Hawaii. The USS Elwyn was commanded by the senior officer aboard Ensign Stanley Kaplan. There were several reasons to put forward as to why he didn't stop to pick up the captain and executive officer. He said it was because it would have taken 20 minutes to stop from full speed and didn't get back up to that. The premise of this movie and novel that formed its basis is that the Japanese would try to defend a strategic asset using their most powerful battleship, the Yamato, but she turns tail and runs from the engagement at the last minute. Apparently, the Japanese officer in tactical command mistakenly believes he's about to engage an enemy force several times larger than the nearly spent force he actually does confront. In historical fact, the Yamato did turn tail and run from battle off Samoa in October of 1944, under circumstances nearly identical to those depicted in this story. It's worth noting that Captain James Bassett, the author of the source novel, was in an excellent position to know about this engagement. He served as a PR officer to Admiral William F. Halsey, who commanded the force opposing that of the Yamato. And hello to Daniel Berry Sports Highlights. Many of the non-military costumes and hairstyles worn by the women throughout the film were contemporary to the mid-1960s period, during which the film was made, rather than of the early 1940s. This is particularly noticeable at the dance scene, which opens it. Many of the extras in it were, in fact, active duty officers and their spouses assigned to various commands in Oahu. The film received extensive cooperation from the Department of Defense, especially the Navy and the Marine Corps. One of many problems encountered during production was that of the time of the filming, late 1963 to 64. Very few ships in the active Navy went to somewhat for their World War II configuration. Only one World War II vintage heavy cruiser, the USS St. Paul, still remained at our most wartime configuration, and as a result stood in for a couple of unnamed cruisers. And an accompanying destroyer, the USS Philip, that took on the role of the USS Cassidy, were extensively filmed on. Other Navy ships that participated included the cruiser, the USS Boston, though only the forward two-thirds of the ship could be shown as she had missiles aft. Destroyers, the USS Spring, and USS O'Bannon and USS Renville. All of the destroyers had to have their modern 1960s ASW gear covered with fake gun mounts or deck houses. Additional smaller vessels were provided in support, as well as an HU-16 Albatross amphibious aircraft, even though said aircraft did not enter the U.S. inventory until 1949. The HU-16 likely substitutes for a PBY Catalina, of which no flyable examples were likely available at the time. The climactic battle with the Japanese fleet was staged mostly with model ships. Kirk Douglas thought the special effects were poor and complained to director Otto Preminger in the studio about it. He offered to restage the scenes at his own expense, using the special effects people who worked with him on Paths of Glory. Kirk Douglas accepted the second lead because his career had declined since Spartacus and the failure of Lonely Are the Brave, and a badly received staged version of One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest. Up until this film, virtually all movies began with main credits, except for a title card let me read that again. Up until this film, virtually all movies began with main credits. Except for a title card in the first scene of the movie, there are no credits until the end. When McConnell looks out the window into the San Francisco Bay. The aircraft carrier passing by is the USS Coral Sea. This was Jerry Goldsmith's first cameo appearance in a movie. Bob Dylan recalled in a 2017 interview that he visited the production in Hawaii because a former girlfriend had a role in the film. According to him, he met John Wayne and Burgess Meredith on a battleship and played some folk songs for Wayne, who enjoyed them and told him he could appear in the film if he wished to. This is just one of two movies that showed paramarines. The other is Marine Raiders. The paramarines saw combat in the Pacific but never jumped in combat. They were disbanded in 1943. The jump scene here is probably film of a World War II training jump. Hugh O'Brien appears uncredited in the film as the Army Air Force major with whom Liz Eddington is having an affair prior to the Pearl Harbor attack. The role, while important to the plot, is essentially a cameo, and O'Brien was, by 1965, a well-known actor. He was unbilled at his own request. Otto Preminger felt that a strong actor was required to make a vivid impression in just a few minutes of screen time, especially as Barbara Boucher was an inexperienced actress at the start of her Hollywood career. O'Brien agreed to do it, not for his usual salary, but in return for a large donation to a charity he supported. One of the patrol boats in Jerry's squadron is number 42. That's the same number as the one commanded by Robert Montgomery in They Were Expendable. In that film, John Wayne played the second in command of the squadron. The words of that title were spoken by Tori in the scene in which he speaks with Kimmel. Bev and Mac's apartment in San Francisco, the Golden Gate View Apartments, is located on the corner of Hyde and Lombard Streets. The famous zigzag section of Lombard that has been featured in a number of films begins directly in front of their door. In the battle scene, it is shown that a Japanese destroyer rams PT-44. According to Navy battle records, only one PT boat was ever rammed by the enemy. That was PT-109, the one commanded by John F. Kennedy. The plane Eddington takes to find the Japanese fleet is a PBJ-1. PB stands for Patrol Bomber, and J indicates the manufacturer as North American Aviation. This is the Navy version of the B-25 Mitchell bomber. The Navy relied on the PBJ as a radar picket, but the Marine Corps used them as tactical bombers and strafers. Also, the Doolittle raid launched the Army Air Force's version of the bomber from an aircraft carrier, the aircraft carrier, the USS Hornet, flown by Army crews, see 30 seconds over Tokyo. George Kennedy played Gregory, knew about combat in real life. He served in the U.S. Army in World War II, attaining the rank of captain and being awarded 2 Bronze Stars for bravery while serving under General George S. Patton. Kennedy later played Patton in Brass Target. PBJ that Eddington takes has the squadron markings of VMB 611, which was Marine Bombing Squadron 611. VMB 611 did not arrive in the Pacific area of operations until October 1944. VMB 611 was decommissioned at MCAD Miramar in November 1945. Most of the jeeps used during the onshore scenes are M151 Mutts, which were first deployed in 1960. World War II jeeps have a classic vertical slat radiator covers. Mutts were the first and only Jeep variant with horizontal radiator slats. Mutts were used extensively during the Vietnam conflict and replaced by the Humvee in the 1980s. Mutts were taken out of service and virtually disappeared as they were declared unsafe by the U.S. Department of Transportation and deemed unfit for civilian usage. Most were destroyed by the military. Some survived to be sold to military enthusiasts and collectors. Much are rarely seen outside of military historical displays and parades. The super battleship in the film, the Yamato, never took part in the fight for Guadalcanal, and since he spent the entire Guadalcanal campaign at anchor at Truk in the Caroline Islands, the Japanese did commit 4 battleships to the Guadalcanal campaign: Congo, Hiei, Kurishima, and Haruna. All sister ships were originally built between 1913 and 15 as battlecruisers, the Congo being the last Japanese capital ship constructed outside of Japan. She was built in Britain. Congo and Haruna survived the campaign undamaged, while the Hiei and Kurishima were both sunk within 2 days of each other in fierce night battles in mid-November 1942. During the climactic battle, one of the U.S. destroyers has the hull number D-12. The DD-12 is the USS Smith Thompson, a Clemson-class destroyer intentionally sunk following a collision with the USS Whipple in July 1936. The hull number for the USS Cassidy is 298. DD-298 was the USS Percival, also a Clemson-class destroyer decommissioned in 1930. Neither ship could have been in a naval battle in 1942. In the movie, McConnell says the Yamato was 80,000 tons. He actually displayed 72,800 tons when loaded. When McConnell's with Bev in the apartment, the view is of the San Francisco Bay from the window, which includes the piers of Fort Mason. These were used for loading cargo and troop carriers in World War II. As of 2019, they are managed by the Golden Gate National Recreation Area, with a variety of events taking place there. The view of the Golden Gate Bridge is obscured by fog. During the dance, Bev describes Liz as being pie-eyed, which is an old term for drunk. The music playing has a big band sound, like Duke Ellington, who not only scored Otto Preminger's earlier film Anatomy of a Murder, but played a character named Pie-Eye. This is one of 2 films Otto Preminger directed in 1965. The other is Bunny Lake is Missing. This is a reunion with director Otto Preminger and Dana Andrews, who 20 years earlier did 4 film noirs: Laura, Fallen Angel, Daisy Kenyon, and Where the Sidewalk Ends. This is one of 8 movies in which Dana Andrews appeared in 1965. The low-budget films were major roles, mainstream projects were small roles. Jill Hayworth had previously worked with Otto Preminger on Exodus and The Cardinal. She had been under contract to Otto Preminger, but this was the last of her films with him. Hugh O'Brian and Barbara Boucher are fired on by Japanese Zeros as they are laying on the beach. In truth, the Japanese only attacked military buildings or battleships. Kirk Douglas, George Kennedy, and Carol O'Connor had previously worked together in Lonely Are the Brave. Kennedy would work 2 more times with John Wayne, the sons of Katie Elder and Kay Hill, U.S. Marshal. I'm sorry?
Nothing, I was just coughing.
Oh, okay. Patrick O'Neill appeared in King Rat the same year. Both films depict World War II in the Pacific. Here at Pearl Harbor, they are at a Japanese POW camp. Lower budgeted than most movies starring either John Wayne or Kirk Douglas, it shows. Or rather, it doesn't show. During the Pearl Harbor attack, when only bombs are shown hitting the water and not one Japanese Zero is shown, except for stock footage when Hugh O'Brian is on the beach. 2 actors would become iconic and ultimately legendary characters on television. Larry Hagman, soon to be cast as Major Anthony Nelson on I Dream of Jeannie, but more famous later as J.R. Ewing on Dallas. Carol O'Connor, who appeared with Kirk Douglas earlier in Lonely Are the Brave, as Archie Bunker on All in Family. There are 2 coincidences that King Kong actor Bruce Cabot appeared in this movie. First, he was in most of John Wayne's films during this time, all the way up to Cabot's death. Second, Cabot and Dana Andrews were both in director Otto Preminger's Fallen Angel 20 years earlier. Dana Andrews starred in Spring Reunion in the late 50s, a film produced by Kirk Douglas. One of the patrol boats in Jerry's squadron is PT-42. This is the same number as the one commanded by Robert Montgomery, and they were expendable. It was the 77-foot Elko boat of Ron 3, Squadron 3, Commander Lieutenant J.G. John D. Bulkeley, who was also tasked with effecting General Douglas MacArthur's escape from the Philippines, which was depicted in both the book and the movie. Okay. An uncredited Hugh O'Brien is killed in a road accident near the beginning. As an Army Air Force major, his character would have been close to Hugh O'Brien's actual age of 40. 7 years later, Brandon DeWilde was killed in a road accident at the age of 30. O'Brien outlived nearly all of the main credited cast, passing away at age 91 in 2016. Kirk Douglas, who passed away in February 2020 at the age of 103, outlived him. As of January 2026, only Paula Prentice and Barbara Boucher are still alive. Patricia Neal, again a very heavy smoker, nearly died the same year this film was released after suffering 3 intracranial aneurysms. John Wayne is only 6 months older than Burgess Meredith, both born in 1907, making them 58 in 1965. When Tori leaves the captain's cabin to wake and confront Eddington, the plaque of the USS St. Paul can briefly be seen hanging on its door. Henry Fonda, Francois Tone, and Burgess Meredith had previously been directed by Otto Preminger in the film Advising Consent. You okay there, Bill?
Yeah.
Okay. Get some water. Barbara Boucher said this film was a turning point in her career. She said Otto Preminger assigned her to a 7-year contract, but since he only made films every 2 or 3 years, she wasn't getting much work. Started begging him to let her out of her contract until finally he agreed. When Nimitz, played by Henry Fonda, speaks with Rock in his study, on the wall behind him is a portrait of John Paul Jones from Revolutionary War days. The image looks exceedingly close to that of Fonda himself when he starred in the Revolutionary War drama, Revolutionary War Western drama, Drums Along the Mohawk. The cast includes 6 Oscar winners: John Wayne, Kirk Douglas, Patricia Neal, George Kennedy, Henry Fonda, and Jerry Goldsmith. And 4 nominees: Brandon DeWilde, Francois Tone, Burgess Meredith, and Stanley Holloway. The special effects team built a fleet of warships scaled down to 1/16 of their real size. They sailed under their own steam, operated by a 2-man crew concealed inside, who, peering through slits in the superstructure, guided the craft according to instructions received through headphones. The final battle scene, which lasts 5 minutes on screen, cost £350. What that is in American money at the time, you'll have to look that up. Henry Fonda's 2-scene cameo was done as a favor to Otto Preminger. He was cast at the very last minute. Chill Wills, originally playing the role, was fired by Preminger after one morning's work. The film was budgeted at $5 million, making it one of the most expensive of Otto Preminger's films. It went more than $400,000 over budget. John Wayne's last day of work on this film was 8/31/64. This was 24 days ahead of the stop date specified in his contract and allowed him to get a medical checkup immediately afterward, rather than at the end of the following month. The checkup confirmed he had cancer, and he underwent extensive surgery, which saved his life. Had director Otto Preminger not been such a fast worker, it is possible that this film could have been Wayne's last. Slim Pickens would go on to star in 1941, also about Pearl Harbor, but a comedy, and a movie in which John Wayne was considered for a role Robert Stack played his part after Wayne told director Steven Spielberg he was disgusted by the screenplay. Yeah, I would rather think that movie wouldn't be his cup of tea. Although a box office failure and never considered a John Wayne classic, it has gained a cult following, and many believe it to be one of Wayne's best performances. Stripped mostly of his tough guy persona, he played a vulnerable, real human being as opposed to an action hero. In two Otto Preminger films, this one and Daisy Kenyon, Henry Fonda's character both dislikes yet sympathizes with Dana Andrews' character. Also in Daisy Kenyon, Fonda played a World War II vet, as he was in real life, and here he's a World War II admiral as the war begins. Stuntman and future director Hal Needham plays the Air Force guy Kirk Douglas punches in the face. Unlike this film, The Longest Day follows the parallel storylines of many characters. Even so, many see it to be the European theater companion piece to this film. John Wayne, Henry Fonda, and Tom Tryon appeared in both. The visuals during the closing credits tell the story of what was to follow, beginning with calm for Rock and Maggie and the recovery to follow. The waves become more fierce and eventually furious to begin to break explosively, culminating in the thermal cloud of a nuclear detonation. After this, the waves are reduced to gentle ripples on the sand. It was filmed in monochrome, partly to try to disguise the extensive use of model work, and partly to make sure the audience knew it was set in World War II. The major studios more or less abandoned black and white filmmaking after this movie. Was and is often the case in films, little effort was made to match clothes, particularly women's, with the era of the film. At the dance in the beginning of the film, the women are wearing dresses typical of the 1960s, particularly Barbara Boucher and Paula Brennan. Also, the hairstyles are wrong. No woman, particularly of a certain standing, would at the time have worn their hair straight and loose. Boucher looked exactly like a 1960s rather than 1940s wild child. In the close-ups of the U.S. naval vessels, only post-war 3-inch electric radar-controlled anti-aircraft are shown. All of the World War II era 40mm quadruple mount Bofors anti-aircraft guns had been retired and removed from the ships. The reason was the new proximity fuse that made shells explode near a plane rather than having to hit it. It would not fit the 40mm projectile. It would fit in a 3-inch or 76mm projectile. There's one single mount Bofors guns shown on the shore at the end of the scene when Admiral Tory arrives on Gravu 2. God, why didn't they just use the actual names? It's supposed to be Guadalcanal. Okay. And the Jeep drives off the pier on the way for him to meet the staff. All right. This is one of several films in which John Wayne's character has a strained relationship with his son, whom he hasn't seen since childhood. Rio Grande, Big Jake, and to a lesser extent, Cahill U.S. Marshal have the similar theme. The climactic battles, based on two historical fights, happened near one another during the Philippines campaign of 1944 and 45. One Japanese fleet attempted to use the Surigao Strait, only to meet a series of minefields, PT boat attacks, followed by a surface force that included the battleships to West Virginia, Maryland, Mississippi, Tennessee, California, and Pennsylvania. All of which were at Pearl Harbor on December 7th, 1941. This battle was their revenge. The second battle happened at roughly the same time off the island of Samar and included the battleship Yamato. The Japanese force of battleships, cruisers, and destroyer happened upon a small task force of destroyer escorts, destroyers, and escort carriers called Taffy 3. Outnumbered and outgunned, Taffy 3 ships turned about and engaged the Japanese at close range, managing to fend off their enemy but at great cost. Almost all of the Taffy 3 ships were sunk or badly damaged, yet their stand warded off the mighty Yamato. because Wayne was operating on only one lung from this point on, and eventually added a new characteristic to his acting, which became a favorite at impressionists who added their technique for him. His lowered lung capacity caused him to often split longer sentences into several smaller parts instead of speaking the line in one flowing breath. He would then be speaking lines like, "Well, I guess we better pull back to the end of the river and see what comes out of the woods." Even amateur impressionists would use this feature to improve their impressions of him significantly. The average age of a lieutenant in the Navy Waves was 25. Patricia Neal was 39 at the time of filming. This is the third and last time that John Wayne and Henry Fonda appeared in the same movie as military officers, the others being Fort Apache and The Longest Day, the latter of which they didn't share any scenes together. Fonda outranked Wayne in all three times. They also appeared in separate segments of How the West Was Won in 1962, which Wayne once again played a military officer and Fonda played a buffalo hunter. This would be the only time Wayne outranked Fonda. When Admiral Broderick arrives at Tulabon, PT-44 is visible in the background. It would be this boat that Jerry Torrey would be assigned after leaving the Admiral's staff. All of the female personnel are officers. This was the standard of the day because their rank would serve in most cases to protect them from the advances of over-enthusiastic enlisted and non-coms. The visuals for the end credits provide a metaphor for the war in the Pacific. Yeah, we went over this. Okay. All right. Henry Fonda and Christopher George are the only two actors to appear in both this film and the later similar all-star war film Midway a dozen years later. When Admiral Torrey and company enter an air raid shelter, one of the actors is hit by a piece of one of the pyrotechnic devices. Barbara Boucher and Joe Hayworth share the same birthday, August 15th. According to legend, this film's original cut was roughly 3.5 hours and included the overture, intermission, interacting, exit music. Then cut down by an hour due to Paramount Pictures getting cold feet over the already excessive length. All three theatrical trailers and a behind-the-scenes featurette do contain some of the deleted extended or alternate scenes, including some deleted shots of the climactic naval battle and a brief, silent snippet of John Wayne's character saying what appears to be all clear, while standing with George Kennedy's character at the airbase. Legend also has it that this film was also planned to be filmed in 70mm widescreen and color. It is unknown whether any footage was originally filmed like this, then replaced with black and white Panavision widescreen due to said cold feet, or if it was filmed as the latter from the get-go. Castle Thunder, heard briefly during the end credits. Jerry Torrey's boat, the PT-44, was in the Pacific and participated in the actions around Solomon Islands and Guadalcanal. It was sunk 12-12-42 by Japanese destroyers Kawasaki and Tsukazaki off Guadalcanal to Solomon Islands. In a case of life mirroring art, just as took place in the movie, Brandon DeWildo plays Jerry Torrey died before John Wayne played his father. When Eddington takes off in the Navy PBJ on a suicide mission, he taxis out from the ramp, sitting in the co-pilot's right seat. As the plane takes off, the stunt pilot can clearly be seen sitting in the pilot's left seat. In Eddington's remaining flight scenes, he is back in the co-pilot's seat while flying the aircraft from there. While flying the aircraft from there is a possibility that is only done with two pilots in the cockpit sharing flying duties. Eddington takes the co-pilot's seat for no apparent reason except that is the way the shot was staged. Dana Andrews' character Admiral Broderick is the film's American antagonist, along with his assistant played by Patrick O'Neill. mentioned many times throughout, mostly learned from secondhand information from John Wayne's son and his mentor, Patrick O'Neill. It was initially unlikable and works for this admiral and almost all the other characters, from Wayne to Burgess, Meredith to Kirk Douglas to Paul Apprentice, mentioning how unqualified he is and how much of a mess his Operation Skyhook is. Although it's never been sourced as a direct reference or connection to Apocalypse Now, the Francis Ford Coppola Vietnam War epic that came out over a decade later, both films have the end of the end credits over some kind of airstrike. For Apocalypse Now, it's actually called the airstrike ending, which is only on certain versions and is a napalm strike. While here is an explosion into water representing a continuation of the Pacific Theater that Wayne's character continues to be a part of, although no person is shown, and then the atom bomb, which of course ended the war started by the Japanese at Pearl Harbor, which begins this movie. Oh, but wait, there's more. The fatal end of the relationship between Jerry and Annalee is related to a suspected pregnancy. In real life, Brandon DeWilder lost his life in an auto accident while rushing to the hospital where his wife was having a baby. Rock orders the PT boats into the strait with the intention that they might sink some escort ships. Some 20 years earlier, they were expendable. John Wayne played a PT boat commander in a squadron that had to fight the brass in order to prove the effectiveness of the PTs in the same type of situation. That's it. Scrolls are closed. Thank goodness. That was long.
Well, we will be back tomorrow for 1917. Our final ode to the troops, men and women who served in wartime and battles and conflicts. Thank you all for coming. Very much appreciated. And as I like to say at the end of these things, always remain to be excellent to one another. Party on. And we will see you at the next one. Your turn.
All right. And I would like to thank everyone who joined us in the live chat on Cosme. We had at one point somewhere in the neighborhood of about 100 and maybe about 40 or so people watching at one point or another. Thank you all very much, even if you were just here for a few moments. Hope that you enjoyed the show. Hit the like, share out the stream, do all the clicky algorithmic things that YouTube likes. And as I always say at the end of every broadcast from HQ, at all points north, south, east, west, and beyond, good night, take care, stay strong, be safe and healthy, because this is how we win.